Hello and welcome to the second session that I'm allowed to have here at the Russian Nodes user group. This time it's about HCL connections, adapting connections profiles for blue-collar workers. I'm very happy that I'm here again and I'm allowed to speak to you. Before we go into the session, just a few words about Beck et al. Itself. This slide shows here what is at the core of our DNA. You see it in the left part. It's work together. This is what Beck et al. Is all about. This is where we are strong. This is where we come from. Here are a few information about Beck et al. The company founded more than 30 years ago in Germany with headquarters in Munich, Germany. You see here some of our customers, some of our shareholders, some of our additional information. And here you see where we are. So Beck et al. Is in Germany, but also has subsidiaries in Brazil and in Romania, Florianopolis. And here you see the technology partners where we strongly work together with. Of course, it's HCL Digital Solutions, but it's also Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, as well as others that you may see here, like Okta for Identity and Access Management Solutions. Customers that we have, you see that usually they are a bit larger, not the smallest ones, but this is just a few of our customers that we are happy to work with. Well, if you ask us what is Beck et al. Doing in regards of HCL connections, we cover the complete supply chain of connections, being it on a technical side or being it on a consulting side, from design to build, scale, and operate with a 24/7 on-call duty, within second, third level support, and with everything to make the customer happy. This session today is about adapting connections profiles for blue-collar workers without an email. Before we go into the technical details, I will present you why I think that this is a very important topic and why every company with blue-collar workers should take care about that. So first, a few sentences about me, Andreas Weinbrecht, born in Stuttgart, living in Munich or between Munich and the mountains, account manager at Beck et al. And leader of the DNUG focus group Connections and HCL ambassador. What is Connections and where does Connections fit into the HCL Digital Solutions portfolio? You see that this slide is not from me. This slide is from HCL Digital Week. And the focus I want to put on is here on the, you see the little red dot, is here on connections, engagement, people, shared knowledge, communities, network expertise. This is where HCL itself puts a focus on where what is the unique selling proposition of Connections. Connections is an enterprise community platform. This is where HCL will lay the focus on it in the next period of time or years. You see here knowledge management, collaboration hub, digital office, intranet, enterprise social network, employee engagement, NDAs. All of that is true, but if you can do everything, maybe you cannot do everything in the best possible way. So Connections wants to take focus on the enterprise community platform. And enterprise community platform, this is the place where you create, discover, share content, find experts. So this is what it is about. It's about people-centric collaboration. It's about people getting together, about people working together, about people making the best of it and sharing expertise, sharing ideas. The use cases that HCL has defined or identified for Connections are those here. And they are defined for departments. They have defined it for training, large-scale projects, community of interest, knowledge base. And you see below here, this is about trusted information. So this could be a closed community, a restricted community, where only defined people can see what is going on and can contribute directly. If you look at large-scale projects here, it's about repeatable success. And if you put it in if you do it in a transparent way, you can have a large-scale project that runs maybe several years, that has dozens or maybe even hundreds of participants, and if you do it in a transparent way, you can make it in a way that all of the company, everyone in the company can see it, can take a look at it, or maybe can even contribute to it. This is connection. So it's not as another silo where just the people who are working on it can see it. You have the possibility to let something go viral. Community of interest, people who have a common interest in something, and here knowledge base. So with the well-defined modules, so that you can easily say, okay, I have here a forum, and maybe someone else asked that question some time ago and I can check for the answer. Or here's a wiki, someone documented it already. I find it, I think, perfect. This helps me. In the meantime, something has changed, so I adjust the wiki, I update the wiki. The wiki has the version history, so it's easy to always see who has done what and to know and to make sure that this wiki is up to date. And of course, you have other apps, other modules in connections that help you working on that. But if you look at those nice persons here, coming from a department, having trainings, working in a large-scale project, are in a community of interest or maintaining the knowledge base, do you think that someone is missing? Do you miss someone? I do. What about those people here? Those people working at the assembly line, those people here who do not have a computer account, who do not have an own computer, who do not have an email account. Those people here, of course, today it looks different, but still, I guess everyone knows a plant, fabric, where people work like that and people do not have access to the internal network, do not have access to emails, do not have access to internal IT systems with their own account, with their own credentials. I think that's not a good idea. Why do I think that? Harald Schirmer, he's a digital transformation manager at Continental Automotive Supplier in Germany. And he's one of the leading thought leaders in the new work style community and in the area of how people could work together, should work together, and define the future by simply creating the future. And he says that a world that is constantly and often changed and changed in an unpredictable way, a world that is volatile and that is incomplete, that incompleteness is a central category to deal with. So what he says is things are getting more and more complex, and patterns that have worked yesterday, solutions that have worked yesterday, may not work today anymore because things are moving extremely fast. If you think about if someone would have asked you 5 years ago or 3 years ago, where do you see yourself in 2020? I guess no one would have reacted saying, oh, most of the time I work at home and I have computer and I can do many things from home. At least for the so-called knowledge workers, this is true today. So things are moving fast. Ambiguity takes the place instead of clarity. Things are not predictable. And one alone does not know the solution. One alone cannot know the solution to the best. So what is necessary is to set up a network, ideally a social network that is diverse. Why is diversity so important? If you only work in your own bubble with the people who have the same knowledge, with the people who have the same experience, with the people who have the same education, mindset, frame set around them, you may not get fresh ideas, you may not get solutions to problems that you are facing. The more diverse the network is, the more it can help you reacting in an appropriate way to unforeseen challenges that come to you. So he says social networks make the richness of diversity visible and usable, so we can build sustainable answers to complex tasks and problems together. So the more diverse your network is, the better you are prepared for the challenges to come. And social networks, enterprise social networks, enterprise community platforms, the best solution that I am aware of is connections, HCL connections. If you look at this picture here on the left side, this shows a network of a social network in Twitter. You see them many interdependencies, many people connected to each other. There are some hubs, some people who have more connections than others, and you see people who are a hub to another area, to another realm of people. And my recommendation is, my approach is, use the experience, use the wisdom of the network, use the power of the networks. New ideas, new approaches, they can come from anywhere. You should not always ask the people that you always ask and get the answers that you expected anyway. And you should not reduce your available network. So if you are working in a company, if you are working in a larger corporation, let's say you have a company with 10,000 colleagues or 100,000 colleagues, and 30% of these colleagues are blue-collar workers without access to the internal IT systems like email, like connections, like other solutions. If 20 or 30% do not have access, why should you reduce your available network? These people, they work every day in the same company as you are. These people have first-hand experience. These people think about what they're doing, and these people can come around with approaches and solutions that you might not be aware of. And this idea that I want to present here, do not reduce your available network. Integrate the blue-collar workers. Make it possible to bring them into your enterprise social network. This is not an idea that I had alone. This idea came from several other persons, corporations, and we helped customers in setting it up. And the problem in connections is not a problem. The challenge that we have here is that connections requires an email address, but blue-collar workers do not have an email address. If a blue-collar worker has an email address, then we can treat him as any other worker. Then you can stop listening to this presentation, then it's fine. If 100% of your internal workforce has an email address, then it's perfect. But if not, then you should stay here and listen and get an idea how to integrate them. There are a few modifications necessary to get the blue-collar workers into connections, and we are presenting these modifications in the following slides. It will become more technical now, but this may help you get an idea what needs to be done, and maybe you can also hand it over to your technical colleagues, to your connections administrators, if you want to discuss it with them. These are the bullet points that are, or these are the aspects that I'm going to present in the following slides. So all of them have been identified as being necessary. So of course, someone needs an LDAP account. We need a new profile type for blue-collar workers. We need to adjust the profiles display. We need to adjust the business card. We need to hide email in the full search. We hide notification settings in the profile settings. We use TDI to set a profile type, and we set a new TDI assembly line to set notification to no email. All of these aspects were relevant and important in our previous projects when we were facing this challenge. Again, so people do not have an email address. If they have an email account, if they can receive emails, if they can work with emails, it's not necessary. Then they are simply another user who needs access to connections, and that is easy to be done. So let's start with the first part. LDAP account with an email address. So we are here on the right side with the red color. So people do not have an email account or a mailbox. Otherwise, they would be identical to the other workforce. And the email address should be first name dot last name, or whatever is your syntax, at whatever is your syntax. noreply.company.com is something that we are using regularly. The LDAP can be based on Domino, so you need to create a personal document with an email address in the field internet address, or you use the Active Directory as LDAP, create an account with an email address in the attribute mail. You don't see here that it has to be, that it needs a mailbox or that it needs a mail file in Domino. That's not necessary for connections. You can work with connections without this. Of course, if you have a mailbox, then you can get information mail. That is, of course, more valuable. But if there are good reasons, maybe licensing reasons or others, that you don't want to do it, then this is the approach to follow. And the account that you create should also be used for authentication. There are some exceptions, like you create a personal document in Domino, but for authentication, you take the Active Directory account, and then you can use single sign-on, but let's not go into these details here. Let's focus on the easy approach. So we need an LDAP account with email address. Next aspect, we need a new profile type. A new connections profile type must be defined. And this profile type must be assigned to the corresponding users, to the blue collar workers user. We have called it profile type no mail, and it inherits all properties from the default profile, but hides the mail attribute. We need this profile type because if you don't have another profile type, then people would see an email address. People could have a button to send an email to a person, but this mail will never reach the person. So to have a best possible user experience, we make it clear and visible that this user does not have email, but he is working in connections. Profiles display. You see here the email address is hidden and an information text is displayed under contact information. Here, note, this user is a no-mail user. No-mail user have no access to email. Well, you can make any other text, of course, but you get the idea. So to make it transparent and easier to understand that it's not a bug, it's not an incident that you don't see the email address, this user will not receive emails, full stop. How to do that? You open the profile details FDL, and then in the section that is named here, you see where the email is rendered and you update the section accordingly. I've put here some of the code inside to give you an idea where to look into. You will find quite some code in the following slides. It's not complete to each and every detail, because then there would have been too many slides or the font size would be too small. But I think it will give you an idea what to do, how to do it. If you need help, get in contact with me. Maybe we can help you with a 10 minutes talk, that's fine. Maybe you need more detailed help, then let's talk about it. So this is about a profiles display. Add a comment to the contact information and hide the email. And here the next is all still in the profiles display. Hide the email field in the profiles section. So usually here is the email address, but when you look at this person here, you don't see the email address anymore. On the left side, you see where it is defined or where you have to take a look at. I'm sorry that these screenshots are in German. Just imagine that here would be a button called send email to that person, and we take away this send button in the profiles. So this test user 3 is a blue collar worker. He has no mailbox. He cannot receive emails. Why should someone open his profile and push the button to send a mail to him? It doesn't make sense. So to take this away, you have to do what is described here on the left side. Then when you hover over a profile or a profile name, an ad mention of a person, you see the business card. And in the business card is also a send email button, and this needs to be hidden too. Same approach as for the profiles page. It doesn't make sense to send an email to someone who does not receive emails. So this would be the result. There is no send email button anymore. What to do, how to do it is described here on the left side. You see it here. You open the profiles config XML. You search for this part here, business card layout profile type is equal default. And then you add a new section at the end, as described here, without the email action. And this yellow part is what has been removed here. And the yellow part here on top is the no mail profile type. Still, the email address is there, even if you cannot see it when you look at the profiles and the business card. The email address is there because Connections needs it and is working with it. So when you are using the full search in Connections, you don't want the people that the email address is visible here because they could have the idea to copy paste it and try sending it. So you see here, test user 3 is a no mail user or a blue collar worker. Test user 2 is a regular user, normal user. And what we did here is we removed the email address from the search results. And for that, we went into this search results FTL. We looked for this area here, described here, and modified this into this syntax that this email is hidden for these users. Users have notification settings or have settings in their profile. And they could have the idea, oh, I want to receive notifications about people and communities on a daily basis and about forums and files on a weekly basis or whatever. They can enter whatever they want. They will not receive emails. Why? Because they don't have a mailbox. I repeat myself. But to make the user experience better for them so that they don't get things to click on where it does not make sense, we will hide this completely. And here on the left side, you see where to do that and what needs to be done in general. Of course, there's more details behind it, but this one might give you an idea where to look at and how to do it. And if you have worked already in customizations of Connections, especially in the profile set, in the user settings, then it might be quite easy for you to change it accordingly. And the result should be everything set to no email. Then we need to set the profile type. We use Tivoli Directory Integrator for that. And here on this left page, you see the functions that needs to be modified accordingly. Then we use a TDI assembly line to set notification to no email. So before we have hidden the settings that the user cannot change it by themselves, here we change it from whatever it is before to no email. So I'll get all users where profile type is no mail from profiles database, get the homepage user key for each user found in the first query, and then set update frequency to 1, which is no mail for every entry found in this area here. Exactly, that's it. That changes it in the backend to no mail is sent out. Is it complicated to do that? I've asked that question yesterday too. And the answer is, as always, no, it is not. It is not if you know what you have to do, and it is not if you know that it will work. So you have seen, if you know what needs to be done within a short period of time, you can prepare your connections so that blue-collar workers without an email account can contribute, can participate, can work together with you. Of course, you need accounts for them, either in your LDAP directory, either in your Active Directory or in your Domino directory. For that, you also have to look at license costs. You have to look which computers they are using. You have to check quite a few other things in alignment with probably other departments or people who are responsible for the directory, but it is worth looking into that. It is definitely worth. What I said in the beginning is, why should you exclude the blue-collar workers who are really working every day, hands-on on the products you're producing. Why should you exclude them and not profit from their wisdom? Why should you reduce your available network? Of course, I know that blue-collar workers, they could work in an assembly line. They have quite some pressure. They have key performance indicators to fulfill. They have to work, and when they have a break, maybe they want to take a cigarette, maybe they want to have some bio break, maybe they want to get something to drink or eat. It is their decision, but you can also make it their decision to contribute. So if there's a kiosk PC somewhere, if there's a computer where they can log in with their account and then can contribute, why not? Maybe they are interested in contributing. Maybe they're interested in trying something out. Maybe that they are facing a problem in one facility, in one plant somewhere in, I don't know, in Greece, and someone else had a similar problem in Spain or in Venezuela or in Asia somewhere. And people could then get together and work together on it. I remember a long time ago, a presentation from a company from Mexico, where they have discussed in connections in a worldwide setup issues that they are having when producing cement. Cement, that is what you need for building houses. And the solution came from all different areas of the world. So I do not say if you make all the steps that I just presented, all of the blue-collar workers will suddenly be in connections and will work and contribute. That's not the topic here. Then we talk about adoption. Then we talk about that it makes sense. Then we talk about motivation. But it's one question whether it's different whether they have the possibility or not. If you exclude them from the very beginning, they cannot do it at all. If you allow it to them, if they can make it, then it's a completely different situation, and you give it into their hands to contribute accordingly. So these were the presentation that I wanted to give to you. Now we're coming to the part where you can ask questions, and I can try to answer your questions.
Andreas, огромное спасибо вам за вашу презентацию.
Andreas, thank you very much for your presentation.
Я вижу бурное обсуждение в группе, но вопросов нет, все понятно.
I see a very lively discussion in our group, but no questions. Everything is clear.
That's nice. I like it. So you see
Это
here,
здорово. Да, спасибо. Очень приятно.
you see here my email address. You can reach out to me. You see the Twitter account of the company. I'm also quite active on Twitter. I did not put it here. I should add it here. Reach out to me if you have questions, if you want to know more, if you want to get into details. I'm happy to help you to bring connections to the full success that is possible.
Сейчас на слайде вы видите мои контактные данные, мой email, мой аккаунт в Твиттере, пожалуйста. Поэтому, если какие-то вопросы появятся, обращайтесь ко мне. Я буду очень рад ответить, пообщаться с вами в любом формате. Спасибо большое за внимание.
Спасибо.
Спасибо.